bumpy.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Way Up Trading. Now today, I want to talk about the move that took place on the SPY. Unbelievable, just completely ripped a lot of bears to shreds, running up all the way from about the 449 mark, very close to the 449 mark, where a lot of folks thought this move was going to head, but it wound up taking the move to the upside that shocked everyone, including myself, causing some major losses and literally short squeezing all the way up, touching nearly 455, almost a $5 swing on the SPY today out of what I'm going to call nowhere. A lot of big blue chips are running, a lot of areas in the AI space, as well as some of the chip sector, Nvidia going crazy. A lot of hype is going around for Netflix, as well as the Tesla earnings that are coming up on Wednesday, tomorrow, and things just couldn't be held down. Banks had huge earnings wins today, and this thing's continued to run. A nice 8% move on Schwab this morning sent the markets upward. The fears of the banks collapsing seems to be out of the woodworks right now. Inflation seems to be out of the equation. A short while back, I made a video of a potential move to the upside touch of the SPY, potentially either double topping or having a new high of about $480. We'll see. Things are looking really crazy right now. The market is in an uptrend, and we're in a big earnings week coming up between this week and next week. And yeah, we're gonna look at the charts, go over some different setups I can see potentially happening over the next couple of days. And we're gonna do all of that and more right after this.
Just a little bit farther.
It's a bad I got the SPY pulled up here on the 15-minute chart. Just gonna go over what it looks like, what the moves have been looking like for the past several days and weeks. We basically have had this bullish channel that we've been forming ever since we first touched the 443 mark and were rejected for a reaccumulation style move that happened in the form of a descending broadening wedge, which we tracked, played out to a T after that crazy SPY dump down, caught itself, rocketed out of the descending broadening wedge, played the midline, now found itself, almost recently found itself roughly this past Friday touching 451 on the nose. 451.25 was the actual target that had set at that time. We wound up playing above it slightly and coming back down, retracing going into Monday. And the retracement would have been pretty much welcome. You know, it was a move that played all the way to the upside, a huge move from the bottom of the SPY here at the lows of roughly about 436, broke the descending broadening wedge, ran up to 451, and then was rejected back for another reaccumulation. We did leave a gap in that time frame here, roughly between 447 and about 445, somewhere around that area where a gap was left. The idea on the retrace from touching that high, which is again the top of the bullish channel, would have been to come down and potentially fill that gap before reaccumulating and running again. But the market had different plans for anyone who was bearish of looking for that gap fill to take place. I mean, it literally bounced off of two levels of support that I've had marked here, which are the smooth moving average on a couple different time frames. I'll pull up the indicators here to take a look at it. This is the 5-minute chart. I had several resistance levels that we would have potentially bounced off for a rejection that were not respected at all. Things actually wound up playing back to the downside. I had this golden level, you can see it here to the right. 451.25 was a major location that I expected us to be rejected. That's when I entered my puts, and we were able to catch a nice move to the downside, roughly about a 44% return on investment on that. Things did wind up going that way, but Monday had different plans. Smooth moving average here was roughly about 448, hoping for a gap fill or at least to touch the bottom end of the golden zone, which I have listed at 447.79. That did not happen at all. Things were bounced here off of the smooth moving average, which thicker gray line I have marked, and from there we had a huge rebound on Monday, running all the way up to a new high, surpassing the high from the previous Friday, touching again the top of this bullish channel that we've been in. I showed you a little earlier. Rejected from there, which was at a high of roughly about 452, created a nice cup and handle. So I'm thinking, hey, you know, this thing it's again overextended. We most likely have a setup here which is bearish. From a Wyckoff perspective, the way I look at this thing, this is gonna be considered an upthrust after distribution, or a UTAD on that third spike up, normally leading to a pushback down into last point of supply, falling underneath these areas, some kind of a move like this where you fall underneath these areas, retest the more recent supports, those resistances, come back down a couple different times, and head back to this where we were supposed to wind up originally. So I entered puts here. That definitely was not the move because, I mean, the excitement is still in the air. Things are still going really well with some of these blue chips, and you also added in banks doing well as on top of that. Yeah, this thing took a huge U-turn and rocketed all the way up, breaking this bullish pattern, a bullish channel, starting a new trend well above it, touching 455 before coming back down and having a closing day roughly about 454.19, and now it's just starting to show some signs of weakness well above this bullish channel. I mean, I can't be the only one that saw this move coming down. I know a lot of people are highly upset, lost a lot of money, or were being really stubborn about the move. Again, you can even see I had this actually printed out here. I did go ahead and create bullish channels or descending channels that I believed would be the location where we would most likely get some kind of rejection and push down. That never happened. A bull channel type of setup, because I did expect us to move upward, just not in the fashion and not as fast as we did. So we wound up getting this rejection here. We didn't want to get the rejection I had here. I'm like, okay, we're gonna most likely get it here from this point, go back and test the top of this bullish channel that I was hoping to, maybe possibly get another test of 449. Didn't happen. Gone. And I mean, this is what you call the definition of a bear trap. Played out amazingly on the charts. Congrats if you caught the move to the upside. I, for one, was not one of them. I took a nice little loss, about 50% on my position. Happens from time to time. But things wound up going well with other plays. Luckily was able to catch some of that back. But yeah, I know this move caught a lot of people, so I did want to make a quick video about what I saw and how I'd actually expect this thing to move forward. You might have caught this video a couple weeks back. The market here at 443, they're gonna love it at 480. Now 480 is actually the target that I'm starting to see here on the SPY. Started to develop here after the last couple of movements. A lot of my chart patterns are actually starting to change to the upside and actually showing me a new pattern that's developing here. One of our bullish shark patterns, which is probably one of the more rare and more powerful actual patterns with most of the stocks, and that's what's actually starting to take place on the daily chart here. And I drew it up just to give us an idea of how things have been moving. I mean, over the last couple of days, this next move, this C to D move, can actually continue on. This is actually based upon the move to the downside after retesting back in around November 2022. We've just been bouncing around. We crossed over the smooth moving average and got a 921 cross, believe it or not, in the early parts of March, and played this pattern again, this broadening top that we've been talking about for quite some time. 921 crosses happened on a daily chart since that time frame, and we've been playing the top of the 9 EMA the entire way. So right now my upside targets to go 444.97, which is that 445 mark I just mentioned a few minutes ago. After we cross that, our next target, if we can hold and consolidate, if we do start to see any kind of holding and consolidation in the area, you can bet the next step up is going to be at 457.96. My next target at 457.96. If that does break and we go continue, if AI continues to be leading the way as far as what's happening with Nvidia, the chip sector, the blue chips, tech stocks, the short covering rallies going to continue. We're going to start to head towards those higher and higher numbers, possibly looking at a potential double top on the SPY. So we need to be very careful of that. I mean, we have a long ways to go for it, but right now the market says bullish. Looking at the volume profile, this is on the daily chart now. This volume is now in a harmonic mode. Every single day has now moved up in volume positively. Every single day is a stair stepping up positively for the last week. You can see even further back, the green bars pretty much picking up steam. The red bars on the daily chart falling down by the wayside. So you can see positive volume is on our side, and this is looking like we're in a full. Might have caught this video a couple weeks back. All right, taking a look here, it's like you saw in that video, my next targets are not that far away from all-time highs. Our next targets look like possible retest of the top of this bullish channel and a continuation most likely to the 457.96 mark, which is the point of the location I mentioned way back in that last video roughly about a month ago. And then from there, if it can hold and actually break above and hold this level at 457.96, we're talking about all-time highs. Plain and simple, all-time highs can be around the corner. I mean, it's lined up very, very well with the possibility of going into these big name companies with their earnings reports. Short squeezes are most likely going to continue. This is looking really, really bullish. Overall, I have volume still stepping up here on the daily chart, 4-hour chart, everything is really overextended, but volume is still increasing. On the shorter time frames that have lower and lower volume, which is also kind of odd, which is another reason we try to see if we can catch that downside move. Still didn't care. SPY continued to move up on these short squeeze rallies. Volume is still showing positive. KST is still above signal line. The no short thing indicators again is above signal line. We do have a slight cross down on strength. It doesn't feel like it. However, it does show technically on the ADX that it is underneath one of the signal lines here. So that can be a potential downside move. I don't know by how much. But we do have to be concerned with the bigs that are coming in tomorrow, Wednesday, Netflix and Tesla. Potential moves on those and potential upside breaks on those can ignite a fire underneath the SPY. Move things up on that, QQQ and the rest of the market. Those are huge names, very, very big stocks, and they can really have a real move on the overall market. You can see Tesla is looking to potentially break this level. I had marked at 295.05. I mean, if you look at it, I've had this marked here for roughly about a month, and you can see I have not moved it. 295.05 has hit and actually hit almost 280 on the T as the high of the day before coming back down. And a break of that 295.05 mark with any positive news or even just the hype from tomorrow morning, getting prepared for the actual move on the Tesla earnings or potential beat on the Tesla earnings, push this thing all the way up to $323. 82 cents would be the next target. Netflix, also big earnings report tomorrow. Had calls on this thing, wind up actually going really, really well. Caught that all the way down from the bottom, roughly at about 450 at open on Monday. Caught that move upwards, and here we go. We got the actual touch today of 478 on the nose, and there is still excitement building on this stock for tomorrow's move. If you remember, we've had that huge gap that was created way back when the market was a bit more bearish, sitting roughly between 460 and 405 mark, and we've started to eat a little bit away of that starting today. I can see if we do continue to press and we do continue to get this good news, positive news, or any potential beat on Netflix earnings, it is going to fill this gap completely to 505, roughly about 507, and possibly even higher if it can hold that area. I'm leaning more toward the bullish side on Netflix. The reason being is because of this huge gap. Number one, needs to be filled. Number two, they have cracked down on a lot of the situations where they were doing lending on the passwords and multiple accounts and password. So that is going to be a huge catalyst simply because of the fact that they're able to retain some more of their income, a lot less leakage, which means a better bottom line, which means that the company can thrive better. So I'm looking for a potential move up to back to roughly about the, again, 507 range. If that can go ahead and break, we look close to about 560 would be the next location I'd be paying attention to if that can break above and they do have positive earnings going into tomorrow. So that's pretty much what I got on those two tickers. Those are the big ones I'm watching for tomorrow. Yeah, if I see those things moving tomorrow, SPY is going to get carried out probably up to that 457 level. We're talking about 460 easy, and then after that we're talking 468, 469 level, following the 457.96 if it breaks that based on those other catalysts. And then we're talking new all-time highs. 480 can be around the corner and beyond. So hope you enjoyed this video. If you like more content like this, go ahead and hit the like, subscribe button. Follow me on Twitter. I post a lot of high quality content there. We're going to be here each and every day growing our portfolios together and making the outcome income for 2023. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace. If you're interested in joining the group that wants to see everyone succeed and show the way up while we make our way up, link is down in the description. Go ahead and give it a try. Trial opportunity there for free. Click the link in the description. Take a look at the page. Let's make some money together.